They'll store my flash drive and never get even anything.
Does anybody want to ask any questions at all about, and I have this stuff up on the wiki, yeah, so that.
I've had you guys do it.
Yeah, you have. Yeah.
When is he Kentucky Day one?
Let me do one thing, just let me put this on vibrate or something. Okay.
1 second.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not gonna take prep for flash and anything like that, but.
Try to be as prompt as possible.
Yeah, I know. And there's controversy in Michigan high school today about whether flash and time should come out at prep time. I say no, others say yes. I think just the cleanup for having computers, probably paper, saves more time than take out of prep for finishing up.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
All right. Observation 1 is the heresy. NRC shut down nuclear power hardware 12. The U.S. government said to stop issuing permits for nuclear power plants and licenses to existing facilities that resolve issues around storing radioactive waste and plans. The Department of Energy should guarantee loans for companies to build nuclear fast reactors. Observation 2 is solvency. HaOg and Delaware status quo market pressures through the Navy in 12. Residents told recycling radium is 200% use in market pressures already being held commercial. HaOg in 2020 there was down waste and facility and the public's current rate of development for HaOg is slow, will take decades until they're in market for it since the French culture 12. They're actually doing the fast we have to put a grid electricity on the grid many decades now, turn a significant share of global nuclear power and now 60% we saw HaOg resolves waste economy, creates jobs, environmental leadership, and global warming. This is Cursion 9. Congress should authorize $3 billion had the DoD work with the industry to demonstrate that such HaOg demonstrates have the following benefits of the carbon emissions from coal plants worldwide. The HaOg plants and benefits existing coal plants are reducing our operating emissions. The progressive objective on eliminating carbon emissions instead of zero sum money in power plants is potential increase energy costs and creating high-paying jobs who need to be processing technology using HaOg. Does not create a proliferation risk cannot be used separate opportunity of the country to have proliferation which is particular to the HaOg country without nuclear power. You can 90% of global carbon emissions from technology works. We waited for 30 years to the HaOg laws and power of the United States. The entire U.S. electricity needs for the next 1,000 power years to have additional money. We're without a portable fuel for existing nuclear reactors. We don't deploy fast reactors on before 2030 unless we talk to the fast reactor program now. We have no chance to meet this deadline, and because HaOg can be retrofitted into coal plants to use the same infrastructure that will take place in coal plants, jumps off the industry 7 9. Matter of fact, solve nuclear waste issues. They feel that they just stop working. They don't know down. They have looting plants and coal power stations. They plants for evacuations. The coal plants and new plants, 10 turbines, national grid infrastructure. Coal plants currently used be the most people that stranded cost both here in China. You don't need to price carbon emissions to make the power economically attractive. Legislation needed such as a lot of nuclear waste fuel. There's a lot of private capital was all the focus in the area much easier, cheaper than managing the carbon emissions and the reduction targets than many people determine think. And HaOg is the only thing that can solve warming, be displaced coal plants, which are the linchpin to solve global warming and getting massive polluters like China on board. This is Cursion 8. Based on the coal plants emissions, the city that quad non for climate stabilization. If we don't get rid of coal plants, the other plants, we are completely hosed to place it. Coal plants is hard but really cheap. We will still get 49% of our electric power from coal plants. We cannot displace coal plants in the United States. How many other countries that cannot displace their coal plants? You must come up with a power plant. The other people 24/7 operations that can be built anywhere just more cheaper, and it will be the China would have the economic incentive to build these plants and that the coal plants will be holy grail to fight against global warming. The integral fast reactor, the 4th generation nuclear design is much cheaper. It's also more for power and cheap. Virtually no ways to inherently save you with the cooling. It shuts down rather than melts down and consumes nuclear waste. Provides all the energy needed for centuries. It is not requiring enriching uranium and left for proliferation and processing. That's in the several countries. The power is very expensive. It falls down. The government goes on and gas shut down and JAEA, and CEA 10. The JAEA is CEA is the deal focus on the development of foreign documentation to the deal with the nation to the JAEA and CEA and deal with foreign documentation for development and next only aid in mechanics. Global warming is real and it's happening now. 5 and 12. Temperatures are increasing natural developing rapid increasing temperatures within the past century after sea ice has declined over 30%. And precipitation totals have increased at 5 to 20%. The mean surface of sea water between 4.1 units and upper to down 9.5 global sea levels and increased by approximately 8 inches in the past century. And anthropogenic and scientific consensus goes affirmative. This is well down to the actual level. CO2 is an important influence on temperature and certain gravity. Consensus of the science and climate change due to CO2 emissions rapid significant implications may be direct people disagree with scientific consensus, but no matter how much has shown to be wrong, they never change their opinion. Harmful individuals, organizations by avoiding pre-editing of engineering and debate about science. In fact, the debate is actually the one that readers when our scientific knowledge is informed and schedules are qualified, paid off for delivering stream of science. You should reject them as long as you have an aim. We feel this uptime change is largely because of oil, coal, and electricity companies. These scientists who claim to down the man-made climate change is reflected in the fall into two categories. Either A, they are not qualified, or they have received money from fossil fuel companies. All of these skeptics not only find one who have relevant qualifications, but even to pay off the some conclusion complicated and happen. It is important to find that arguments are supposed to cherry pick scientific findings and not inevitable. And when they tell me the tip point can be brought back down, it's dire night. Slow feedback, if I stay a long time and work their way through the concept, we have managed to get the company asset construct back to the same level they might be south of the track. According to return can be important to the typical level is that we exceeded the long term rock 250 across the million or more. We managed to something about the company asset construct not far beyond the figure. We will begin to urgent the audience that can get it back down. One million causes alteration in the Atlantic current, South Ocean conveyor belt causing the ice age quickly, and ABC News 7. 1 million hemisphere by causing melts water coming to the North Atlantic Ocean, the classic ice sheet over North America, and for slow circulation down the ice age 1,500 years in Europe, and warming increases the volcanic activity. This is top to the 7. Volcanic eruptions and monsoon glaciers could bring the way that ice depression the country sits on the ice months across the top of the ground down quickly. The places like Iceland, lots of volcanoes are a little bit affected trigger eruption and causes ice age in 1996. The eruption of the super volcano will to the civilization areas of North America can be devastated civilization eruption the dark forces come from the Africa and the trees and southern the planet to cultivating animals and species go disappear forever extinction Jurassic 4. What makes it when there is civilization impact by advancing I see the test the meaning really more about the memories of the man global warming hypothesis and there's two projects over the two projects global war is out of date. 3 projects like the global security rights, 2 projects the estimated project chicken protest about providing nature security for for rights in Haiti, protest agriculture by President Cameron, and everybody is going to watch over the Soviet supplies on the free. This is just more about the talk. I just believe by Soviet talks to the devil animation strong with China and that is about the exports increase further with the drug pump stocks. The more they turn the American American cross about this facility is by false ID. US Soviet to keep the Chinese food security. This is Bloomberg 12. Soviets in the US Soviet 2.9 tons of the China 6% contact from the Soviets in China are going to come in the hottest US Chinese relationship and Soviets in only turn to Chinese food security. This is the Walker Hong 12. The Chinese Soviet markets are not the only case of the proportion domestic production. The government to 20 million tons of soybeans in 2009 quarter which produced domestically. This next question is whether soybean imports and both Dutch Chinese great security class food security with stabilized China. This is American H 12.29. Soybeans are company that was searching for the animals and soybeans increasing the equity as for the price of hiring off the back China for the inflation and government faces those back to the domestic with the playing very more Chinese diet any class was also nuclear watching the United States. This is 1985. The public set up with the whole world CCP the world we open CCP starting to China agriculture and the people and China's critical to world food security is weapon 8. That is the way the one of the world food security by producing the 1% of world food and 10% are blind China and creating the very global food security and the president great growing China. The other is now the economic development and food security now the run economy healthy but it's getting working out the country we need the farmers and getting the amount of grain and good meet the requirements of the home stabilized prices kill billion temperature and assist if they really was high international food prices in very poor countries and significant portion of their food rising prices and equal food reach 1.1 billion people that's guaranteed by diversity, one class by diversity, $12. Ecosystem can be passed by competition, also rates to the species, distribution, cut rapid, and company different ecosystem diversity, the sharing identity, common species, the worst case, the distinction rates, and called by six best distinction, the world is extinction, young and time. Gives species, what if products, species, make each other, multi species classes, ecosystem, remove ecosystem services, the more biodiversity, first, more related to facts and biodiversity, the power of the planet, possible to attention to biodiversity, maintain the service, and independent work called as human distinction, temporal 80, I think the more 40 rapid disease, the dangerous global, or the high country, the the animals living in the fire oxygen, the work of the boss of the being stream will die. The mere 40 miles to see when we increase the scale for climate migrants, rise the sea levels of climate change, bunch of mass migration, and reducing this ability to rise in the time. Building the individuals, inventing all the view of sea level rise and walking the likely heat range and having participation in gas and hurricane extends to sea level rise, keeping space 225 million to 1 billion. Human find increasing the homes of the American inland low south of the meantime, less succeeding inevitable. Bangladesh, Egypt, Community, and Vietnam, is also opportunity for very function to stand the causes of the migration causes war and instability to submit the seven. Population movements evaporate the social, economic, and human economic metabolic competition, the environmental migration, and consultation, the impaired social, economic instability, typically, the disability, safe area, the great sanctuary for terrorists and criminals, insurgents, and right outside military intervention, specifically the South Asian war this time, and public intent, the advancement of climate change, with the food and the sea level, sea level rise, intense storms, and mass movement of people, the likelihood of migration, conflict, and losing the migrants, committed scarce resources, migration, with environmental conflict, future, social, economic condition, comes to the borders, and security crime, using migration, South Asian, social, companies, involvement, integrity, discussion, the water, and companies, the ancient, nuclear, and educate, in the mind of relationship, like ancient, local, and companies, starting to be one, the Pakistan, all the nuclear weapons, must be raising, has to be true, like the Pakistan organization, negotiation, and manipulation, help keep the necessary peace for the fight against the Cold War Europe, and necessary to make conspire, environmental restriction is irreversible, you, parliament cannot take the chance, and this is tyranny and seven, invisibility has the parts outcome of the global challenges of the environmental policy, and 6 political water, that's something we are, what is due, and we have the mother to the president, ability, rationality, take risks, not the global health, and medicine, the right to take, like, president's responsible, loss of uncertainty, which is the actions developed and requesting a different approach.
Okay, you didn't skip over any of the warming impacts, did you?
No, I just gave you the last 2 cards and then one I see.
Okay, your inherency evidence says the NRC is not providing licenses for nuclear power now. How does the plan solve?
Unless we find a way to do it radioactive waste. That's the condition for the licensing thing. It's like you cannot build nuclear plants unless you solve for the waste. The plan solves for waste because IFRs use waste as fuel.
Okay, but the plan wouldn't solve for waste until it's actually implemented. How does it overcome the fact that the NRC won't be giving licenses?
The NRC will not give licenses unless there is a way to deal with waste. We have a way to deal with waste
that says that the plan would cause the NRC to think that waste is
No, but that's not necessary. The report decision is NRC provisions must, nuclear power plants must deal with waste first. We solve waste. Clearly, people in the courts are smart enough to see that we solve the waste.
Okay.
Therefore, they can deal with
So the courts would just like to see your evidence. That's
I
fine.
mean,
you can make
it's kind of like
what trilateral agreement does the plan result in with Japan and
there
China?
is a trilateral agreement that exists in the status quo that guarantees that we.
What is that?
If we make an it allows us to use like technology and workers from
What agreement is
Japan
that?
and
What is
France.
the agreement called?
What is the agreement?
Because your
called?
evidence just says that they're cooperating.
Yeah, they're working together, and they call this an extension of the Memorandum of Understanding to.
Your entire card is the JAEA, CEA, and the DOE is focusing on the development of prototype demonstrations. The MOU enables continued coordination.
Like it's literally called
This evidence doesn't even say Japan and France, the parts you've highlighted.
Do you know what the JAEA and the CEA and the DOE are? Those are the energy commissions of France, the United States,
Let's
and
talk about the
Japan.
Ice Age. Your ABC News evidence from 5 years ago says that warming will cause, quote, ice sheets over North America. So do you have an internal link to ice covering the entire globe?
Warming collapses in North Atlantic the North Atlantic current.
Okay, so it's just an ice age in North America.
No,
Your
because
Thompson
we also
evidence
read this-
talks about
No,
volcanoes.
because we also read this Thompson.
I mean, you don't even.
I'm about to ask about volcanoes. The Thompson evidence talks about volcanoes in Finland. Why didn't the volcanic eruption there a couple years ago cause your
Because
impacts?
it's not a super volcano.
It's not a
it's
super
not a-
volcano? What is the difference between a volcano and a super volcano?
Super volcanoes are when the current crust has a bunch of ice on top of it. And what happens is when this ice melts, it allows the crust to rebound very quickly and makes a very large volcano.
Okay, so where would
And
these
these
super volcanoes?
volcanoes-
Your evidence? Okay, so what super volcanoes in Finland?
The thing is like they exist all across those plains. The reason why they
Those
don't
plains?
like places
Where's
in
that?
Finland, places in Iceland, places in Greenland. The reason why they have the reason why they don't pinpoint the exact places that are is because the ice is on top of them now, so they're not able to rebound
Okay.
until the ice melts.
So
That's why
what does
it's-
the plan do about a volcanic eruption?
We stop warming, we stop the ice melting, which stops the volcanoes from rebounding now.
It's going to be 5 up, and then case in order of warming solvency, and I'll highlight their specific scenarios when I get to them. get rid of a lot of these, but. You all ready? Is the flash drive not working?
No, it's not that. I'm just waiting for it to upload on our Dropbox. I can't get it from the flash drive.
Oh.
Are you over there?
Yep.
You ready?
I have it.
Yeah, you. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Anyone not ready? First off, top county energy production must affect the use of energy, not development of technology. ChAOg 9 energy production defines the extraction of energy from natural resources for final consumption, manufacturing, and for final consumption. This is voting HaOg's limits. It justifies an infinite combination of R&D, tech, and cooperation. Apps explodes, negative research spend, and B is neg. Ground spikes, links to energy trade-off disads, and in-depth case debates, airs neg. By directional energy types mechanism, massive unique response for disads. Next off is the election. CA Obama's winning, but it's close. License it all 10-3. A new poll shows amongst electing Obama leads Romney by 7 points. The short of the pedestrian of the race separate so the linear by single digit for the president. There are not many ways to be about his election choice. Even a point or two can make a difference. And plans sparks massive backlash. GSI 12. Americans want to keep the brakes on nuclear power. 77% will support a shift away from nuclear reactors. American opposed construction with 50 miles home pushing left into the oppression. This is back to independent political support with skepticism management. The area of federal power environments expected dangerous and more radioactive turnout is key to the election. So as of 12th, the nuclear reaction was predicted. Romney court political defenders. Elections for back percent of the inner red political warfare and burning strategy to your opponents. Your supporters of campaigns will spend time and energy trying to persuade independents to try to violate the basis of all will strike Iran. As October surprise of these losing, there are no strikes if it doesn't assume model Shalev 12, 7-17, notable in the U.S. attack in Iran becoming occupied to contend Iran to be pronounced without underground to changes the Obama's went fastest way from use military force to use attack on use an attack on Iran in mind for military response to the election push for to my work and Obama's favorite sorry by the February of October spies extinction dogs D6 of aerial bombers from the launch of the run the trigger the ground let's go to the bar region long-term relationship plan from the virus and beginning the radiation the public pieces part of the military customers military action rapid involved in the participation in the trigger a broader work of the skies and with the attack for national Americans over track military the jubilant of Central East Middle East regional list of our respective conflicts lead destabilization of the Russian Federation. Next off is the currently the United States Department of Defense to procure the development technologies for companies to build integral fast reactors in accordance with the research development test and evaluation program and promoted by sponsoring a public demonstrator program. The capital is competitive and solves better. Cohen and all 9. The U.S. relies too heavily on DOE for energy innovation and competition factor across the verge technologies to energy technology produce programs the DOE, including the DOD and government department demonstrates points of luck of place technology innovation for reputation and energy program powers to demonstrations to reduce uncertainties. The project to be responsible by the government for financial support ensuring plan development and funding for fusion is on the chopping block. Key to solve energy security and nuclear meltdowns. AS12. The U.S. has history about revolutionary technology development. This can be done again for the Congress is considering drastic cuts to science and the private sector argue there's school for government policy most troubling which comes out of the battle of the consequences of these cuts will be felt immediately in less than decades when truckers even promote much cuts from fusion energy fusion problems of finding accessible supply of energy gas to the road of nuclear meltdown plant trades off Morale 11. The FY24 budget is already by the role of investment trade started with the budget to make this truth invisible in the energy department tries to cut investor money for new developments to cut to the customer investment but receive finance which public church currently spent by the nation will discipline the time energy budget policy to new investor company to neutralize energy security solves great power war left war the China's old defense of the United States increased power the landscape because by scarce resources, main competition, conventional itself, around the Chinese supply size within society will identify the radio security portfolio. They might find China fitting super glasses in the cars. Meltdown causes extinction. Washington Lot 1. The radioactive products which can be melted in a lot of those who blast radio from the atmosphere. Evacuation would be impossible. Rolling life from human dependent would be permanently destroyed. The breaking time rules could obliterate the very core of life. Next off is the NNSA. They said NSA is stemming human capital shortage is now lowest 12. The enterprise working to drive over recruitment child. The geographically sized to the private sector. What about the NSA taking direction to rest and charge for possible streamline higher practice building patent school candidates. Critical skills are unique. The enterprise can be involved in classic environment school 3 years on the job, 10 years to train scientists. We sharply reduced its workforce. This is great concern about critical skills and it takes from according to small efforts to be generally effective for training. Reducing limited leave note of redundancy. The car system made by NSA remain on high risk alert and the plan trades off its zero sum lords and 8 new build in place plans for capital effort infused security skills and off-skill new performance at the expense of other projects resulting in zero sum gain and NSA human capital is key to solve disease at diagnostic 10. The university must have provided some vital source of forces greatest asset. The super capabilities for investment security deploying must attack the speed of pandemic disease as well as the super community and opportunities for Canadian science and research relations. In fact, Russian news one of science and technology we need the NSA is supposed to make the solution extinction keating 9 no other street like some Java civilization and then needs black and half of your related civilization to spread in fashion global origin necessity Ebola mutate drugs and get up in civilization ending back human previously unacquired exposure BBC no negative these bioweapons can I new to complication. Next off is the CCS council in the US is for our government to provide subsidies for carbon capture and storage systems. So government is key to solve CCS for neighborhood all 8 subsidies can update about the cycle innovation permits and bonus and technical rights allows to do missions to plan about 10 years operation bridges gap between sexual options with legislation which uses life actively attracting mission reduction track deals to receive an opt-in credit for every time C2 squares into CCS loan guarantees are another for developing initial carbon capture storage by provide file support facility clearance by new name and technology guarantees bringing to advanced commercial operation to the process of IBC operations that cover CCS and CCS solves warming Guardian 12 CCS range that can do up to 90% strategic technological breakthrough the rapid impact over the 2 emissions warming. No warming in anthropogenic Watson 9. Global warming is not making a human trend is not something going to come to someone for about to human modeling, drawing set of views. Many warming says my habits is when the increased global trends is hot despite increases huge emission recent warming is recovery little ice issue not just like the MC's conclusion should be an unprovable hypothesis of the grades must be broken. The climate change starts to deliver lots of ice this year. If it's real, then it's irreversible. Harris 9 climate change is irreversible. The world experience long-term environmental destruction and the emissions around control since the world's not climate scientists turning off carbon percentage won't stop global warming. It's irreversible. Change will last for thousands of years. Currently still carbon action. It doesn't cause extinction. To cause evidence for the search for the human lifespan. This is irreversibly wrong and misleading. The company has not been promised the environment temperature. The legend will not be human coal. Agriculture will increase the temperature. Evidence that's out this is simply not an end of humanity. Warming intentions will not challenge our civilization. And no, in fact, to Ice Age, enough research to survive. This is their author, Jaworski 4. Let's assume everything frozen with human can survive. The best technology would securely civilized for 10,000 years. The stock market vision would reach 6 billion. We can survive with many orders on the plane turned into a glacier and no CCB collapse at pay 9. The broadly strange to learn over 2 critical forces making a change in China region trying to repress among the economic crisis center will not lose the branch hold on power. The CCP has already demonstrated a remarkable ability to contain express foreign social protests as well. This movements to respond tens of thousands of years, make Chinese law enforcement the most experienced in the world of crime control and dispersion, and no lash out. The CCP would fear retaliation. Gilly 5. The risk of even to attack maybe to attack would be certainly to the analysis to risk of these forces by debating the CCP. There are doubts about the link between action plans would confer the backlash among the CCP. The worst of all, it's unlikely that geopolitical offers to these gestures. Implications of military competition would caution against worldwide scenario for these nuclear weapons against U.S. reserves. Nuclear competition would not make sense. And no impact of food prices. The poorest are insulated from global markets. Paraberg A. The world's hungry people not using international food markets. The two environments are not hungry. International food markets are not primarily for the phosphorus summer. It's caused not by human prices, by local conditions. When prices go up, income of living us as well as the human taking place in villages and persists even when prices are low. This is a food crisis, but not come from high prices and lack of infrastructure causes their impacts, not prices. Coals for 7. That's not more stuff because food numbers is absurd. There's more food there, but lack of infrastructure and income distributed or real cause hunger, not prices. And no impact to biodiversity, touch 89. The wealth of bird species is not curriculum. The argument that human species and environmental food is highly combined simply isn't true. The cultivation system always production more than wild. The argument that community star species is theological, other species are detached from human welfare and they don't do us harm. The elimination of all but the tiny minority does not affect humans. One iota provided enough from cellulose that entire biotechnology we can feed ourselves. The human species can survive 99% of your when extinct and redundancy and adaptation check the impact order is 2K. The unlockable is less credible ability to experience extinction completely. It seems unlikely that from the bus noise implementation public is adaptable even if the percentages will hold redundancy with the high proportion of species and common and relaxing Climate migration high now. UN News October 5th. The UN High Commission report for refugee build. His embassy is currently dealing with fire, keep protecting 700,000 people fled Syria. Sudan, regarding the level of Congo, Syrian population, guys, is 1,000 worldwide, and tons of Syrian refugees now. Yemen reports October 2nd, more than 3,000 civilians fled Syria, spread throughout Turkey, Jordan, and Lebanon. They're threatening the land to be doing that Sudan could. Double no Asian war, let's go and desperate aid. Asian with separate regional villages, Turkey, will be despite potential credibility. Asia is more stable than I expected. One arm more, but the terrorism is continuing with your attention to try and tell them I'll let you work in the right call, especially one. Pictures and common time when chance, we don't have consultation with corruption, organization dedicated to peace and peaceful impact, and nation unexpected to the peaceful economic development, corners of peace and stability. All this just towards a life solved. IFRs aren't feasible. Here's 10, 12 steps about danger and simple organizations, simple names of recycling would be dangerous to build with that danger. I'm going to worry that based on not credible solutions still can be made commercially, not from building 25 years today, commercially can be made which I'm having another line, too many logistical hurdles for 12, but in this short term will probably greater security risk and another person general when nuclear energy is tracked or dealing better than over the value even space being to work. Risk and do nothing, solving the runs the energy repeated on time under budget and safety and logistical hurdles. Actually, DOE fails going it online. What do you something existing wealth? Then you really see the culture that's been able to collaborate use the energy like competitors with their fans to make this like commercial opportunities. It's also been allocation. So yeah, B it destroys markets, certainly is coding it online. Demonstrates will be something more significant than the other, especially in flat reputation. Average market technology DOE is an inconsistent record of cooperating with industry partners and loan guarantees fail. Do arguably deny 12. The amounts of loan guarantees are fundamental. Average loan guarantees with the original living tax rates and innovation with the market scores and market size, nature, political science, and administration across is just damning that they don't solve NRC licensing regulations.
Okay, so let's start with the topicality. Why is the planet untoppable under this interpretation?
This interpretation is that you have to produce energy. The plan R&Ds. It makes a distinction between incentives
How do
for
we not
production and
produce
incentives
energy?
for R&D. You produce R&D for IFRs, which do not exist right now. Which means
IFRs, okay, so we believe that IFRs exist in the status quo. Is this T still applicable?
No, because you
Okay,
give an
I'm not-
incentive to develop the technology. It doesn't actually produce energy, which means there's a distinction between R&D.
Okay, I'm not sure. Is this a question of whether or not okay, it's a question of R&D, so this is a question of if IFRs already exist, or if it's a question of what is this a question
It's a
of?
question of whether or not the incentive goes towards research and development, or it goes to energy production.
Okay,
Argument
that's
that
fine.
you go towards research
So
and development.
Okay, that's fine. Let's move
Indirect.
on. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the first counterplan. How does the DoD give these loan guarantees?
This evidence indicates that the DoD can procure the relevant technologies necessary for an IFR technology. The DoD does multiple energy projects. They can easily procure the necessary. If your evidence is true that you can just use existing coal plants, and they can put IFRs on existing
That's not my
military.
question. That's not my question. Can you actually answer the
The
question?
counterplan does not provide loan guarantees.
No,
It
that's
procures
fine.
the technology for the
Alright, that's fine. Let's talk about the trade-off. Is that okay? What do we trade off with?
The NNSA is a nuclear regulatory, or is a nuclear organization. The plan would sap the workers that are currently in the NNSA towards the private sector because you develop this IFR commercial industry, right? That sucks
Towards
the
the private
workforce
sector?
away from the NNSA.
What is the NNSA?
The NNSA is the nuclear security enterprise and strategies.
And where
It's
is
the National
NSA?
Nuclear Security Administration.
Yeah.
And where is the NSA? Where does it function? Is it in the private sector, public sector, government?
It's a government agency
Okay, and why do we sap them away from their current target?
because you promote a commercial nuclear industry, which requires a lot of workforce. There are only so many experts in nuclear technologies, which means that there would be a trade-off.
Okay, so what's the
between
time frame since this happened?
I mean, as soon as the plan provides loan guarantees, which immediately jumpstarts commercialization. Your argument is that the workers for those projects would come from the NNSA. Lauritsen evidence is pretty good about why those workforces are zero sum, which means it would have to be.
Okay. That's fine. Okay, let's talk about the CCS counterplan. How does the CCS counterplan eliminate carbon?
Your argument is that we need to replace coal with something that reduces emissions. Our argument is that we can put CCS on existing coal infrastructure, also reduces emissions.
All right.
Probably faster.
What's CCS?
Carbon capture sequestration.
I understand. Can you explain to me how the science for this works?
Yeah, okay. So during the coal production process, you would capture the CO2 emissions during that and store it underground.
Store it underground. All right.
Where'd you stop on this volunteer ordinance?
So I read the first 2 cards, then I skipped the 3rd card and read the next 2 Cohen cards.
Okay.
Oh, and the Derugi loan guarantees failed card was the last one.
I think it's the same set.
Probably would have made that connection.
About 8.5.
That makes sense.
7.5. About 6.15. So you should stop or?
No, I'm talking about
Yeah, okay.
myself.
I'm sorry.
Stop. Stop.
What do you? No.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not.
So stop.
Yeah, stop.
412.
Where's the flash? Oh, you have. I don't know what flash I want to use. Oh, actually, I'm pretty sure. Put on the block right there. Flash I want to get.
What you got? Well, I can get it for work. Just take some time. I already have this again.
Did you use any prep there?
No, I was just flashing.
This computer doesn't do a flash drive at all. And it needs it 2 ways, so I could have played it before.
We were just entitling flash. Right?
It's no big deal.
Okay. Order is,
It's gonna be T. The DoD kind of plan. CCS, politics, trade-off. Take.
case in their order, warning, insolvency.
Yeah.
Okay.
Couple, do you all have 2 copies?
Yeah.
Actually, I need.
Prep.
Put 2 seconds.
Put T second.
DOD first.
Yeah.
I have 407. Good. Okay. So what's first, DOD and then confidentiality?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just put it after everything goes. So after all the health cases.
Okay.
So under the
DOD.
trade-off.
under the trade-off goes DOD, right?
Goes T.
T. Okay, so duty first, T before warming.
Okay. 4 minutes.
Right.
Our interpretation is that the NEG only gives safety counterplans that utilize the action of the single agent acting independently. A, predictability is key to check the combination of the actions that do not exist in the literature based on leads to an explosion without burden. B, is illogical. Nobody in the position to choose the action as a logical opportunity in the concept of planning. Meaning it's not real world. C is infinitely aggressive, justifies a billion different agents in the single action counterplan and eliminates all the advantage. Grounded no advantages to turn into the plan and agent counterplans are voted there, still in their stale education and still the one they see in the perm. Do both agencies shields the link to the policy. Shields the link to the politics and farm due to counterplan. The USOG includes agencies. Plan doesn't exclude the possibility of agency action, so it's not separate. This is black law 90. The government consists of the executive, legislative, and judicial branch. In addition to the administrative agencies, and Congress will roll back the president won't protect it or limit the politics. Rodriguez intended in the context of an independent agency where the president's view are likely to be along with the agency. The correction will move to overturn the regulations and be met with a veto. And the counterplan undercuts the accountability to the public. This is Rodriguez intent. Even if the delegation introduces the flexibility in the policy making most way in against the loss of accountability, this concern is justified. The building of congressional controls into a new model and accountability is critical to prevent extinction. This is hardly nuclear, chemical, biological weapons, the proliferation of various sorts of life in the global system and of ecosystem and appears to be endangered in most of these non-conventional threat and are associated to the weaknesses or absences of democracy and accountability. And you shall see deficit no spillover into the commercialized industry. We are the only ones reading specific evidence of how a demonstration reactor can actually spill over from the United States federal government and DOD links to politics on the CCS. One perm do both. Two counterplan doesn't solve the F and has to eliminate the emissions to solve only IFRs do that in CC as the efforts are too expensive and no one wants to build this. The economists are not in factories of definite enhancement described. The station of the burn coal and coal is the dirtiest, the fossil fuels and the producing the types of carbon dioxide and natural gas and when it is burned that makes it a big cause of warming and carbon sequestration entails the hovering of the carbon dioxide in the smokestacks of the power plants and the industrial facilities and storing it at the same carbon CC as it's proven easier to talk of than to get going. There are no big power plants in using just a handful of small demonstration projects and utilities refuse to make bigger investments into power plants and CCS and it's more expensive to run the ordinary short market there. And CO2 leakage would kill marine life and the pH fluctuation wipes out plankton, bacteria and bottom dwelling plants. This is succulent and 97 effects of the marine organism the marine ecosystem of the ingestion of carbon dioxide into the deep ocean. It's very little study and the most significant impacts will be indirectly from the lower pH and the result in additional carbon dioxide is added and seaboard and the pH is affected to vary in the 4 points in the NBN value of the 8 and the single plankton bacteria and the bottom dwelling pounds in the animals and the depth of ingestion and the principal organisms may be affected and cross-apply our young evidence from the 1AC. This causes distinction and sequestration is bad. 4 warns Anderson and 4. Johnson identified the 2 primary concerns with ocean sequestration and the leakage of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere and unknown consequences of the organism and elevated CO2 concentration and reducing ocean pH and the transfer of pollutants in the CO2 and the lower pH would inhibit the ammonium dioxide and the accumulation of cycloplankton and the abundance of community structures and unpredictability and still links to politics. Romney will win. This is Fellenthal in 10-5. After the debate, Romney has gained on Obama and is now viewed as positive by 51% of the voters in the first time in the majority. That's positive in the U.S. and presidential race and the progressive post found that Romney will win. He's hiding the post-debate momentum. This is Hurt and Thomas 10-5, and Romney is trying to ride the wave of momentum in performance against Obama in the presidential debate. And Obama is seeking to rebalance the subpar debate performance during the month after the election day. The campaigns were seeking on the presidential debate and again the possible advantage in a tight election. Romney will win. He claimed and independents will support a pro-nuclear candidate. This is Morris in 12. The nuclear energy can produce a prodigious amount of the 2 parties in the polarized side of independent voters and to make the energy a major issue in the presidential candidates. And independent voters are empirically the key. The internal link is Killian. And 12, about 40% of the American voters now call themselves independent in a bigger group than either Democrats or Republicans. And independents not a majority in the margin. And Obama carried by the independent voters significant factors of victory and Republican victories in 2010 is decided by independent voters in terms of the plan would spur job creation. This is laying an eye. The Bush administration has begun the political reaction to the reprocessing and the found 11 communities and the approach to the problems in the high-paying jobs and energy is important right now. Economy and foreign policy outweigh. This is Battleton and Bass 9-15 in the election of probably on Obama and the Johnson. The economy and the foreign policy led to forefront and NSA trade-off. Now unique IFRs are coming now. The fair disclosure evidence and no link. We get workers from Japan and France to the trilateral agreement and warm leads to the disease spread. This is Stern and 7. Climate-sensitive aspects of the human health and a significant proportion of the global disease and may grow the importance in some tropical areas and the temperatures are already in the limit of human intolerance. In the World Health Organization estimated the climate change in the 1970s already responsible for 150 deaths year, increasing the incidence of diarrhea, malaria, and malnutrition, predominantly in African and developing countries. Just a 1 degree increase Celsius in the temperature above the pre-industrial levels at least double the annual deaths and no impacting disease evolves for a more mild and human evolved vulnerabilities. This is Archibald and 3. Whenever a new disease appears somewhere on the planet, and the experts and with the great simulations and war ridiculously overused the metaphor and the probably should be bombed in the Stone Age and forget trying to obliterate the other and focus instead on evolving humans and make them mutate in the right direction and get the power of evolution on our side of disease or in fact be viral and around it. You mark there. And disease burns out before it causes extinction. Let's lethal viruses will kill their host too fast. This is understanding evolution. And 7, the transmission is a matter of life or death for the pathogens. In the lineage, there's the evolutionary trade-off between violence and the transmission and consider a virus that exploits the human cause and the virus and a lot more damage and the world of disease. Yeah, mark it there. And we don't do R&D. We give incentives for more nuclear power plants to build long guarantees for the construction of IFRs. Actually already exist and existed for 30 years. Of one I see in counterinterpretation, energy production incentives include R&D and military procurement projects, programs to increase the market access and long guarantees and loans and technical assistance factory and 85 federal incentives in renewable energy and include the innovation awards programs, technology transfer and information programs and incentives and deployment of the technology and the various loans and the loans regarding reasonability. If we are reasonably topical, you should allow it in ground. Their interpretation would exclude all nuclear power apps. That's one sense of the topic education. The emerging 4th generation reactors is key to getting good topic-specific education because of the future and nuclear power. And they overlimit that appeals to base on potential abuse is not a voter. Make them prove how we actually link to the abuse. And so I'm see debate first. One, they say IFRs will fail, but we have 2 pieces of evidence indicating that 2 experimental breeder reactors were used in the past. This means that IFRs only have to be commercialized in the status quo, and IFRs are coming in the next 25 years. They read a card indicating that in the next 25 years IFRs will come. We indicating the 1AC that we have to speed this process up because they're already coming, but only through the United States political involvement. By building a demonstration reactor, will they be commercialized? This takes that out. Additionally, they read DOE failed. This is not specific to loan guarantees for nuclear power. This is generally about the malfunctions of the DOE, but they don't read specific piece of evidence indicating that loan guarantees won't be able to work in the status quo. And even if they win that argument, they won't win our specific type of loan guarantees. Our specific type of loan guarantees are about providing the administrative costs, which makes them incompatible in the status quo because the government doesn't actually support the loan guarantees, and they will actually let them fail, unlike any other energy sector. And warming. First, the food crisis scenario. On the food price scenario, we'll concede that the CCS won't allow them to go to war. Now on the biodiversity, they only read 1 piece of card indicating that biodiversity won't lead to collapse. But this biodiversity card only assumes a linear scenario where there's one specific ecosystem collapsing. Our evidence is about parallel communities collapsing at the same time due to warming. This gives us enough of a link to internal link to our young evidence that indicates that this multiple species collapse will actually lead to extinction, and it will independently lead to human collapse. That's our article evidence. Additionally, they're conceding our framed evidence that the warming is actually irreversible, and because it's irreversible, you must refer it.
What was that last argument? Warming is irreversible, and so we should stop it?
The framing evidence in the
warming is irreversible. How do you stop it?
Huh?
If warming is irreversible, how do you stop it?
the impacts of warming are irreversible, which is what the Cerruti 7 card
Okay, that's
says.
fine.
Which is why it's actually unique, because
Cool, that's fine.
when
Let's talk
sea
about-
levels rise.
Let's talk about politics. You're
Okay.
reading two cards that say that Romney won the debate. Where does this evidence indicate that that is generating him more voters?
It says that it swung momentum in the election. And momentum
General
is key.
momentum in the election?
That it swung him momentum in the election, and because it actually swung him momentum, that's gonna get
That's
him
fine.
more votes.
Why would the plan be perceived as job creation?
Why would, it's not a question of if it would be perceived as job
Why
creation,
would
it
it
is
be?
job creation.
Why would it be perceived that way by voters?
You build new nuclear
I
plants.
got you,
Like,
but why would they perceive that as an economic improvement in unemployment?
You create a new business, new businesses normally have new jobs. I don't know what else to tell you.
Cool.
That's just,
That's fine.
Pretty
Let's talk
logical
about the DoD counterplan. You read a bunch of evidence that talk about executive agency action in general and delegation. Where does any of this evidence assume the DoD demonstrating to do the plan?
it doesn't, that's our point. Like,
What
you
do you
can pick out of millions of different agencies and be like, oh, well, we can have anybody actually do the plan.
What are you talking about? The
But it
theory
says
argument? I'm
that-
asking specifically about the solvency debate.
Well, it is about actually delegating authority. It
The
says
counterplan does not delegate authority. Where do you read any evidence that indicates
it does
that-
delegate authority. It gives authority directly to the Department of Defense, and if not, it still is an executive agency if you're gonna run a
Where
Department
do
of
you read?
Defense,
Whoa,
which means it probably
whoa,
wins the
whoa.
election.
How does the DOE have the only authority over?
I did not say
Demonstrate.
that the DOE has the only authority. I said the
And that
DOD
kind of
probably
means the
links to an
counterplan
executive
doesn't have
agency
delegate authority.
because it is an executive agency.
CCS. What leakages occur? What leakages occur due to carbon sequestration?
Are you referring to a specific card?
I'm asking you to explain to me how leakages would occur during carbon sequestration.
The
The tech
technology
doesn't
is not
work.
very done.
The tech doesn't work.
The
It's
tech
not-
is not even created yet. That's our first argument. The actual the actual thing.
Your evidence says that there have been multiple demonstrations of CCS. What do you mean?
And none of them
Yeah, they didn't
work.
work. Like, that's the conclusion
Where
of the evidence.
does your
I
evidence
don't-
indicate that it didn't work, or why didn't it work?
The entire bottom half of that piece of evidence indicates that it would not work. It has not worked in the
It just
past.
says it's a waste of money.
It literally gives 4 reasons why the CCS is literally improbable.
I don't.
Just says that no, the 4 warrants evidence just says that it would have lower pH and would mimic ammonia oxidation. What does that have to do with it not working?
It literally says that the carbon. So you say to solve warming, we stop carbon from being
We'll
released
take
into the sky.
what were the theory arguments
Leaks
in the situation?
carbon into the sky means that it happens anyway.
What was
You
the
want
theory
me
argument?
to go through all of them, or
Just
the first theory argument on DoD, and that's it, you're good.
what was that? Just agent counterplanes are bad?
Yes.
Okay. Is there another one?
No? That's
Okay.
the only thing there.
What was the impact to marine life?
What did you say?
Marine life,
It was young.
young,
The young
Bio-
evidence.
biodiversity.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of that's right.
About 9 minutes. 740.
Self-driving.
728.
The order is going to be the NNSADA, the DoD counter plan, the CCS counter plan, warming, solvency.
Can you give the order one time?
NNSADA, DoD counter plan, CCS counter plan, warming, solvency.
Will there be room for an overview at the top of any of these?
There will be an overview on the DA, and that's it.
I just want to put this on.
What can you say that real quick?
NNSADA,
DoD.
DoD counter plan, CCS counter plan. Then the case in order of warming, solvency.
Okay.
All right. Okay. DSAD turns the case takes out solvency. Nuclear labs are a prerequisite. LANO, age to develop viable solution challenges must be addressed through identity of multiple scenario, lost elements, planning hero, developing a solution strengthen, and then DSAD's modeling and high performance computer fabrication, testing new materials requiring nuclear facilities, low southwest nuclear station for cycle, advanced modeling, low southwest go standard, and it's key to nuclear power, anti science, human capital is key. Turns the case LANO 70, labs will play altitude science, and important advances, deficits, uranium, polluting, mass science, science, nuclear power generation, production, outside element, stimulus, facilities, national nuclear inventory, productivity challenges, 21st century, 15 the best. Yeah, and also the NSA, they continue the NSA solves these next generation computer models proves that tools attack pandemics, disease, simulations create new discipline to predictive sciences and R&D that prevents pandemics. Human capital is key. The NSA needs the best and brightest. That's the CISO. Evidence also, disease takes out solvency, collapses USFG functions. Gregor, 6 also 50 at the same time. One more. If something comes along like a major event, you go to CF, you go to the way you look there, creation of events. It turns the case pandemics called state collapse and warp round. 3 disease, go to my competence, state to function, legitimacy, under my ability, state to function, disease, adverse effect, language function, security events, graphic obligations to one stabilized countries, disease, channels, regions, with the epidemics, cross-border, cross-border, great widespread order, the United States, conflict starters, and always the case, NSA, human capital is key to reliable nuclear force solves now, alloys, 12 United States, problems with managing nuclear weapons, rise, national security, incentives, ensuring nuclear weapons remain reliable, absence of extraordinarily complicated requirements, top science, the physical great NSA, complicated evidence about reliability, performance, warfare, nuclear top society, that causes nuclear war, cabins, perception, commitments, U.S. returns, round application, major state conflict, answers, support directly, major war, administration, vendors, returns, provocation, state deployment of WMD. Now they make these unique services. I first coming out, but issues specific unique trumps is everything being built that was planned and accounted for. The NSA has prepared a pipeline of skilled workers to take into account the requirements to care about just they can handle that, but not anything once blocking LS evidence and they say. Also, IFRs are not coming out green 10. IFRs don't exist on liquid existing temperature. For example, South Korea reached some decision to assess viability of evidence to decades to us. No governments just show companies, and they continue to need this argument that NSA human capital is sufficient now. The NSA is taking action to streamline, hire, to build a pipeline of skilled workers built. It's a high risk area. Just enough scientists now that say alloy systems prefer evidence from the most recent GOA report and assessing NSA human capital. It's an independent government agency specifically charged with critically assessing whether NSA is prepared. The plan trades off the NSA because any upscale requirements massive amounts of scarce human capital. It's a zero-sum game. That's Lorenzo evidence. The NSA can't compete for human capital. Gets expanding nuclear energy. Private jobs are better. Work environments are less geographically isolated. That's always evidence. There's a brink argument here. The NSA has just enough human capital, recent workforce reduction is no redundancy, and critical skill positions means any future human capital losses will be crippled. And that's the always evidence. This is knowing because there's workers for this Japan and France. But try that argument. One is the concept was evident here. They don't
They can't even specify the trial agreement that they do. Also, this evidence is not. They show just this cooperation, not that they would actually establish a trial agreement. There's no evidence that workers would come from there. Unlike evidence is more specific, and it says that the workers would come from the plant. Now they say warming causes disease. That's not true. Scientists admit downly some works to the degree of public health does one vacation influence these social precaution. No local process like off topic. No this company spread many diseases. Warming definitely does not cause disease. Writer that he claims that warming causes malaria. Yellow fever too. Indigo the past one of actually malaria common disease from the U.S. Darkness in all countries were affected. Is no evidence the suggestion of these commentaries or sources of science predation based on the public health statutes divergence research for recursive vector diseases and increased logical resettlement off associated with climate change fertilization without adequate infrastructure, ability to resistance, and ability of drugs and sex resistance and deterioration of it. So controls operations of public health practices there. In fact, doesn't assume key evidence to get to disease would mutate before they would burn out, which guarantees that they would cause extinction. There's no warrant there. Is extinction in fact anyways now the DOD count when they say they seem only get one agent. This we meet this argument because the count plan justice to the DOD, which they say agent count plans are bad, but they're good. Ace point key to check their SNR generic ground, especially on the top has to be small research for the best possible agent count plans. Destroy discourse them. Policy innovation and research making debate harder for the app is good. First offsets pre-round advantages like greater pre-turn prep, which makes debate fair overall, and makes some research and debate harder, which makes it better overall. They should thank us and add-ons check and let checks and reject the argument, not be team. Also, they say permutation. So there's no warrant for the agent count plans. Agent count plans better. I mean, the two things you shouldn't give that to them. The permutation destroys solvency. Cooperation feels worse than 10. Institutional sharing does not influence the project. The does not the policies can do to avoid doing project for coordinations themselves. Otherwise, committers fail after gap innovation and certain marks like Congress and stakeholders. Now they say permutation of the count plan. The plan text is a DOE, which guarantees that the count plan is competitive. They can't do the count plan that severs, which skews negative strategy and makes the after moving target. Also, they say the count plan links politics, military policy, and United States not subject to political debate, health stop. 11 when national workers based on energy segments persons debate the military's commitment to energy renewable options not dedicated to political disorders hindered by national security. The military not need to wait for because you should be very skeptical of all the links of politics arguments on both flows because they have no warrants in the 2AC for this argument now. The count plan solves, or now they say the count plan concurs public accountability. The affirmative links to this too because this evidence is about delegation. They obviously delegate because they use the DOD. This is not unique because delegation is obviously not because of bureaucracy. There's no internal link to democracy. To diamond evidence, which is about democracy. There's no warrants in diamond evidence anyways. There's no impact argument. They say no spill over at the bottom. There's no warrant in this argument. Count plan solves 100% of the case. DOD procurement demonstration empirically stimulate market innovation. That's what I want to see. No one else. The count plan lens of sufficiency. If we win the count plan is sufficient to solve the case internal links, then you should weigh the DA before the case. Now the CCS count plan. They say permutation to both the links to all of our DAs, which because of our link arguments about nuclear power, the count plan obviously doesn't link to that. They say it doesn't link. We don't have to guard damage against CCS solves warming because it reduced 90% of emissions. Now they see CCS as too expensive. The count plan solves this because companies might perceive it as too expensive in the status quo. That's what their evidence is talking about. But the count plan provides subsidies for guarantees that companies have an incentive to build CCS because the government is giving them money for the CO2. They say CO2 liquids. This evidence is not about CCS. The count plan obviously solves warming anyways. The BioD defense on case will answer their young evidence. Now they say sequestration is bad because it causes leakages. There's no warning. Crosses was really bad for them. There's no reason why it would cause leakages. Even if it caused some leakages, we can still reduce 90% of emissions, which is sufficient to solve an only CCS can reverse CO2 already in the atmosphere. Kerrigan, no CCS promoted against GHG out of the year. You would create a new vacuum CO2 in the atmosphere. So in the front also the French energy company on the way to industrially reduce climate change. There's no warrant for the link to politics. That was explained above. That obviously doesn't link. Now the warming debate. They have considered the Watts evidence. There's no warming in the status quo when it's not anthropogenic. Computer models and satellite data prove this. Is also the Harris evidence indicates that warming is irreversible because of the greenhouse effect. We're already past the tipping point. Even if we reduce emissions, now it guarantees that emissions will always the CO2 that we've already put in the air will have a delayed effect, which guarantees that warming will be inevitable. They say BioD collapse. They say BioD collapse. They don't answer the touch evidence because there's no impact to BioD because humans are insulated. There's no connection between humans and other animals. No, the only reason why there would be a connection is because we need food, etc. But we can make synthetic food, which guarantees that humans will survive. Our dormant systems gets redundancy and adaptation checks. They're redundant species, which guarantees that, and we can adapt to any future species loss, which guarantees that checks the impact. Now they take evidence as a joke. Our Lumberg evidence because there's no extinction because humans can reproduce faster than warming can kill us, which guarantees that there will always humanity will always survive. Their framing argument doesn't matter. We access their framing argument too because war obviously causes extinction, which is irreversible, and so does disease. The solvency page. He says experience proof the ability of evidence indicates that IFRs are not feasible. It takes 25 years. They have to convert plutonium powder into a metal alloy, which guarantees to take a long time. Also, our second piece of Pierce evidence indicates logistical hurdles will guarantee that they would take out the F because time frame and it costs too much money, which guarantees that experiments would take a long time. It would put them double. Either they can't solve warming, or they can't solve warming, or it takes a really long time for that warming effect to happen. They say IFRs are coming. That was the answer on the counter plan. The status quo solves this argument about how IFRs are coming. Means the status quo solves the affirmative because warming is a long-term impact, which guarantees that IFRs coming now guarantees it. resolve the case. Now the DOE debate, the current evidence indicates the DOE feels there's no collaboration with other agencies, and they're always co-opted by special interests within the DoD, which guarantees that the incentive will be tainted. The second piece of DOE hurts market certainty because the markets empirically don't like DOE action, or he doesn't do a good job of answering our DeRugi evidence indicates loan guarantees fail. This evidence is specific enough to the there's no reason why their specific loan guarantees any different than from our DeRugi evidence indicates that the plan would increase project costs and decrease innovation because it increases the cost of borrowing for the companies that they provide the incentive to. It also distorts market signals because it creates an artificial incentive into the market for these companies to do it, which guarantees that they would do it in the future. Also, they can see at the bottom of the debate that we can see their inherency evidence. Their inherency evidence says no NRC licenses are being given now. They don't reverse it. There's no reason why the NRC would perceive the plan as reducing waste. They don't have a piece of evidence that says the plan would cause the NRC to think that they're reducing waste. This is all these solvency arguments are an independent reason to vote negative on presumption because they conceded that the NRC won't give licenses, and you can vote negative on presumption if we take out the F. Back to the case page. Species are key to ecosystem. 497 studies suggest great abundance of plant animals, flowering, to translate ecological health. There is no evidence supports ecosystems are consistently causally related, and biodiversity is scientifically disproven. No impact on there is no biodiversity importing for 500 million years. Biodiversity was the plants of the actually like biodiversity years, where the 4.5 billion years is 25, 7.5% of disease without biodiversity. Biodiversity has never been higher in the space. Species are redundant. Master, and redundant means one species can perform some functions and ecological insert response to loss species like the results of disruptions. That's not the disruptions.
Let's talk about this NRC licensing stuff. You say because we can't issue new NRC licenses, we can't solve. We say that we should retrofit current coal plants. Why do we need licensing?
You need licenses for the companies to build IFR.
Why?
Because otherwise it would be illegal and they wouldn't do it.
Licenses are issued for new nuclear power plants, right?
I'm sorry?
Licenses are issued for new nuclear power plants.
No, you read a piece of evidence that says that NRC is not giving any licenses now because it fears problems with waste management.
I know what the Hargraves evidence says. I'm asking you, if we retrofit current plants, how is that the same thing as building new plants?
Look, I have a question. The case evidence about nuclear war, it says that major adversaries would be willing to challenge the United States interests more directly. What does that mean?
Major adversaries like rogue states or adversaries in the United States would challenge the U.S. by attacking.
So like United States made fall, so people challenge us in a world where we don't have a strong nuclear deterrent?
Yeah, nuclear deterrence, yeah. Okay. Our allies would take advantage of a lack of nuclear deterrence.
Okay.
Our adversaries rather.
Okay. Let's go back to the solvency debate for a minute. You say markets don't like it. Why don't capital markets currently like to invest in nuclear power?
Why do they currently like to invest?
You said they don't.
Yeah, they don't.
Okay, why not?
They don't have a monetary incentive to do so. The evidence that I read on the DA says IFRs are not coming now. There's just like no public interest.
That doesn't answer my question. Why don't they have incentive to invest? You said they don't like it because they don't like it.
No, they don't like it because they don't have financial incentive to do so.
So even provide loan guarantees,
even if the plan provides loan guarantees and gives them a market incentive,
do you have
evidence that they don't like the DOE and the way DOE does it?
That's not the question I'm asking.
Does the DOD counter plan link to this NNSA thing?
Does the DOD counter plan link?
Yeah.
Well, we're not claiming that the NNSA is a net benefit to the DOD.
Okay, let's go to
DOD
the
counterplan net benefit is politics.
Okay, let's go to the NNSA counterplan. Do you have a specific piece of evidence about nuclear power, or is it any increase in private industry trades off
Yeah,
with
the
the
1 and
NNSA?
2 link evidence that I extended is about nuclear power.
Okay, that's the only piece of evidence that you have that says that?
Yeah, because in the 2AC didn't challenge the linker.
Okay, can you read the line that actually says that it trades off of nuclear power? In the 1 and 2 evidence? I didn't see it.
Yeah, the Lauritsen evidence indicates that new nuclear initiatives will require, quote, massive human capital effort and massive the upscale of the nuclear workforce, which will come at the expense of other projects.
Where's that specific to the NNSA?
Yeah,
you have not provided a link argument.
The alloy evidence. This would have been a great argument to make in the 2AC dude, but you didn't make it.
You're saying you don't have a link.
No, we do. The alloy evidence also says the plan trades off the NNSA.
That's fine.
Okay, Pratt?
Yeah. Wake CD round 1. Runner-up.
You have it to us, right? Oh, right.
It's gonna be just politics. There'll be a slight impact overview at the top, really, just not too big. Anyone already? Conceded impact means today's game over. Decided waste insurance case for Ron Strikes return oil in the economy collapse of the economy, which means there wouldn't be any money to invest in IFRS. Also, I waste some time frame. They've conceded that if Obama thought he was going to lose, he would strike. And this month, which means I waste some time frame. It also turns biodiversity because nuclear war would cause extinction because of radiation and nuclear winter environment. Also turns Asian war because of it would cause miscalculation and drawing China and Russia would also draw in India, Pakistan, which caused the best in for Asian war. It also turns migration because it caused many refugees prefer the impact on time frames. It's 12. Almost like to start one. The owner bond advice not going to spend around the sweet spot. Thanks to me, literal October spies. But I'm starting more than just ahead the 2012 presidential election. And most problems start for escalation and great power drawing. Call 12. Any more with one of the next generation. One about the terminal significant cause. Which is kind of the government like overreaction. Surgical strikes. Nuclear facilities. One. When it's powerful to escalate. The more moves with our news personnel and our shipping. The shipping was merchant. Trick about also great power facilities. Watch the distractors. North military taking heavy blow. The fracture global economy. Robert Zuma is one complex to draw. It's doing the competition with all of what's here around change from that. Just started the U.S. members in the conflict now. The Union State extend our one team lacing up. It's national and swing state polls. So Obama is winning, but it's close before it's because it assumes turnout. It's comparative between GOP and Democratic outlooks and answers all their warrants for the election being locked up. And small shifts matter. Obama's ahead, but it's not locked up. Going 10-1. Obama is more like votes 49 to 47 on the political issue of the economy. Obama Romney split Romney is get the focus on Obama's policies clear. The Romney is Romney not so far behind. They can't get up, and it's close, but Obama's ahead. Silver 10-4. Obama's at the rates and surely cost strike. Just like Romney like gains ahead polls after forecast anticipate the recent would not take no offensive base and equivalent of kick and field will not. A drop his comeback chances have improved and approval ratings of Democratic enthusiasm run firmer. 10-2.9% improved the way the Obama's handling his job creation. 50% would vote for Obama, 43%, 39% Democrats are keenly enthusiastic about voting. 25% said enthusiastic voters are just starting to tune in. Now is key. The race is close as May 10-3. Romney made himself look credible to voters who are now starting to pay attention about why the majority of people who voted Obama looks better than he had based on the economy. Now their evidence suggests that the debate provided momentum for Obama. Doesn't actually say that translated where she prefer its business type polls and more words effective than their evidence. Also, unions controls the direction of links because it means that the link can only go one direction, which means there's only a risk of the office. Now the links made. The efforts of our massive public backlash news polls show that overwhelming majorities of Americans oppose the expansion of nuclear power. Fukushima left a massive safety concerns that the one CS and Obama is backing up nuclear power now because he knows it's suicide. 1197. The wake Fukushima no can really cavalier about problems because of the atom Obama campaign convention know this and they've chosen to shift away from nuclear. Obama has made the shift nuclear power's political dead weight. Only a risk of the link. The public massively opposed to nuclear expansion and there's no constituent lobby for the plan CSI 12. If Obama believes in what kind of losing nuclear power, that's somebody have no making serious based calculations. Only 1 in 10 or 50 nuclear power nuclear reactors. Low guarantees are opposed on a bipartisan basis. There's no old view constituency, and there assumes that people think that it's clean energy. But Americans don't support it and won't pay for it. 12 Americans do not support nuclear power as clean energy. 2 out of 3 Americans, including 58% of Republicans, 65% of Democrat independents, and 75% of Democrats agree that the term clean energy should not be used to describe nuclear energy. When clean energy defines including nuclear power plummeted, nuclear power has been valued for least favorite option, and new environmentalists hate nuclear power. Tier 12 Tech is being overstated by environmental reasons. Radiation allegation of Ponce Chan, Chernobyl, as whenever the subject comes up, and they're key to the election shot. Well, Obama's worried about whether violence will come into full force. Obama will do whatever it takes to show violence, supporting violence at home if they're not appeased. And they say the plans to independence want reduction in nuclear power. And 83% of independents want to see reduction of reliance on nuclear power. It's perceived as wasteful spending with independence, and start trend with independent voters finding Republican voters Trump government-oriented policy fiscal issues are vanguard of independent dissatisfaction, independent opposed new spending. Voters argue that we should freeze total new federal spending limits. We argue that we should freeze real spending fed by 52 to 5% margin, and there are more substance just says that they can make it an important issue. It doesn't actually say that independent support, which means you should prefer or link turns to this argument. Then next he says that he makes the jobs link turn argument. Syndicates said they wouldn't perceive it as spending of jobs, they perceive it as bad for the environment. And our literally evidence is from 2009. It's talking about reprocessing and the Bush administration. It also says that if communities had interest in reprocessing the Amazon, it doesn't actually say that they do have interest in it, which means that this is not a net link to. You should also prefer our links to link to because environmental issues come first. Romney's also ahead on economic issues now, which means that this can't generate offense for them. Now they say that energy is not key. This just says that jobs and the economy are important. It doesn't say that energy is not important. This makes a distinction between this and loan guarantees are specifically unpopular. Seaside 12, they Obama believes that voters will reward nuclear power in Pennsylvania are making serious calculation on which one nuclear power nuclear are opposed to bypassing no clear all through constituency. And there's still time left for the Alabama election swinging for Romney right on all 10-3. It's time for a couple of comebacks and things far from over. They're going to take that they have put away Ohio, New Hampshire, Wisconsin, Republicans. So agree, no one's saying that Obama's lost the door is still open. In fact, 150,000 people changed their mind. Everything changes, and Obama's likely to win, but polls underestimate how tight the race will get. Colorado 930. The presidential race will get closer with actually the fundamental call for close election is tighter. Now the temperaments cause me to question the polls because the real margin is actually quite close. Public history processing and afraid of proliferation, terrorism, and environmental harm barrier until the 10. The myths have been difficult for nuclear energy, nuclear reprocessing, believed in more uphill by people perceived notions, fears of polar terrorist threats, harm to the environment, these are caused to the public's perception. That's fine.
Alright, how much time do we have?
I have 4 minutes. Three and a half. It's not right. 201. Yeah, there it is.
So you guys ready for the order? You guys have it up?
No, he doesn't.
You can start.
Alright, well, okay, so the order is going to be warming, solvency. Yeah, warming, solvency, the CCS counterplan. And then it's the DOD counterplan. And then it's politics. And then it's the NNSA counterplan. I mean DA, trade-off DA. The bottom. Is everybody ready?
Yep.
Okay. All women, they say woman's inevitable here. We have no by any arguments here. You can see that we can see woman inevitable. We're not going for you. Going to solve this flow war. Probably for the president to be able to solve here. They say that's going to come. Our IFRs coming now. It's going to be able to solve after the IFRs will come from the status quo. We really pretty good evidence. Evidence is that IFRs are going to commercialize really soon here. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. That the guards. They say IFRs coming about 2030, 2050 here. That's not soon enough. If IFRs don't come before 2030, they will not be commercialized. That means they will spread here. The DOE failed arguments is not responsible to our revenue here. It's not responsible to the DOE giving loan guarantees here. We don't have to answer documents. You go to loan guarantees, fail loan guarantees, fail that Apple argument to my plan. This is about status quo loan guarantees, but loan guarantees only fund half of the plan. Half the plan, half the construction. Our plan gets 100% of the funding here. Loan guarantees do not actually back. This means we'll be able to solve for this. And we license argument. All we have to do is solve for waste. IFR solve use waste. They can see the argument here. To me, we solve that back. That is the key part of the court case here. You go to the top here. They say it takes out the app, but it doesn't. That was below. And you go to the CCS California. The CCS California only solves warming here. There's no sort of benefit. We're not going for CCS. We're not going for warming. You can see the CCS California. You can go to the DOD California. Any Californians are bad here. They're not coming to basketball arguments to say that every government you can only allow one agent. It means you get international agent Californians, but you cannot get agent Californians inside of the United States federal government. They don't answer our interpretation here, which means their interpretation is not applicable here. We only have one way to view the debate through our interpretation here. We read agent Californians bad for companies and they're impredictable, but there's a very different agency. It's not the United States federal government that you try to solve with the plan. We've never predicted it. We can't get the ground to actually make the argument. That's the ground argument. It's still 100% of the affirmative ground here, and pick out of our agent here. It means they're getting a conflict that benefit argument here that we can never answer back to these back here, the affirmative loses all that because we can't debate against ourselves. Our next infinite regressive here, that was above the 100 different agencies kill education because we don't actually talk about energy policy or any topic instead of talking about internal DOD. We kill topic education is geeky, unique because we only get it on this topic specifically here. We also want to interpretation that just by permitting the counter plan and also going to permitting both going to solve this on one of the children with politics because we still use the DOD and other DOD procurement. They say it doesn't solve. That is not the answer to our argument here. They can procure IFR technology, but we give loan guarantees for IFR technology to exist in the first place here. We probably the only way to solve it and choosing to policy. They don't answer that argument here. Also, the reason all of this is they can see Congress roll back the counterplay here. That's a conceded argument because Congress not allowed the DOD to put IFR technology and roll back here. That means they'll get arguments to the DOD, still to politics. That'll be the reason why Obama spending straight money on procurement will valid to politics. You can go to politics proper. We're really debate here. All you use culture just way better than this. You read about the round robins, really right now the status quo. It's really getting into the debate that happened now. People are starting to pay attention right now here. Yeah, that's all the keys from because the first debate happened and Robbie swamped Obama and made it look ridiculous on the economy here. We read evidence about how the economy is going to be the key to the election here. That's a conceded argument from the 2NC. I want the economy is the only thing people care about. And Robbie was really good on the economy and Obama was really bad. He had the momentum in all the swing states, which are going to be key. That's what my evidence is really good about here. They're truly to this has going to be Democratic base here. Robbie's win he is called the week of the Democratic base. I'm the only unique this league evidence. It's a VOA. Robbie's the hell can't do what he has to. He's got the guy who's up the moderate. Doing to the Canada, the best shooting back in 2002. Republicans with the double sex and cutting the Democrats. No one supporters Robbie gives his evidence and performance in debate with the Democrats. The purchase the best sponsors of the Republicans losing sit like that. This is trying to form something we're going to push back here. We're going to evidence here. They haven't given really good with independence. Now I look at power. We see independence actually supporting the parties that's close to the cleaning like the plan. And if that's more so, but independence going to be key there 40% of the electorate. They can see the plan to be split a jobs person. Let's say this argument is not very good, but it's actually pretty good about why we will increase more jobs. We have to build the plans and people build a job creation. They can see the economy is key to the election. Here's people like the job creation argument. And one thing that's pretty good reason why you should vote for you should vote for Obama. Also, there's no war without ran. Neither person I'm going to strike each other in the city or when I hear around 10 practices and things already is good to populate neighborhoods for the guys that my fellow. These are the devices physically attack. The U.S. would never use military forces in Europe and the United States the military forces in Europe. U.S. foreign treaties, encourage public culture, about restrictions, regime, the true title, apply for active treaty, true protection of these ING. You can go to the gist out here. We'll see the gist out like he went to newly back to a seat in Germany here. That was the cross that I was getting impact on that shit. Breeding up on this was based off of disease, like birth when possible. This is where we're having the people actual like sponge disease, they fall to quickly for country, human culture, proximity, and between the guidance, the east of country, with the American power, and so when you like to start to if you fruit and work in the eventual places that go about like the short the bullet, is that people in the United States overpower in the United States remains almost Republican, and Germany borders Iran, causes to strike them. Actually, no, the Germany makes pure conflict, but Iran inevitable slain the summer. The causes to strike the property, private lessons, and causes to show them beyond the weapons and the important issue, the German United States, Iran, our conflict, Iran, public giving Iran, many iceberg, fundamental causes of destruction, the United States, and Iran, as represents the Middle East, the Persian Gulf, the Ukraine, US, trying to keep the same assumption, the pre-invasion of Iran policy, we question is whether that assumptions are correct in the U.S. primacy, causes nuclear problems, this weapon, the overall uniformity, global interactions of the supply, the global demand, U.S. national security, no, naturally, the geontology, the conventional military, threat of American using the investor, the legal retaliation, causes states of threatening, the Union, South Texas, North Korea, and South Korea, and the group, so you about 25 years, so we can probably have a put in the kind of full straight, and you, that's a statement back as a distinction of our truth, the white man fluoration, the great shoot up, the weapons as a direction, destruction, the other blue press style, the white man, 1800, the world keys, the together, the buried bodies, and American power makes conflict Russian more likely, this is Code 6, American policy, considering development, 4th War, 7th, and German PC testing, Western country, U.S. government, for some weapons against front lines, the importance, the Hussar, the mother, the risk, military company, the Russian geopolitical threats, American, Russian self-destruction, and U.S. Russian causes distinctive, this is the Russian too, the section, Russian more likely for housing, racism, the catching of weapons, significant threats, and long-term threats, are speaking to Russia, and the prestige, to build nuclear weapons, and nuclear weapons, and the possibility, consequences, global terminal.
How much time?
7:28.